Is your nonprofit's AI use already breaking California law? Look, I know it's an urgent and frankly kind of scary question to kick things off with, but the legal landscape surrounding artificial intelligence has shifted practically overnight. And for organizations operating in California, well, the compliance clock is literally already ticking. But hey, don't panic. In this explainer, we're going to navigate this incredibly complex new terrain together using a clear, step-by-step blueprint designed by the folks at AI Care Agents 24/7. Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome. Today, we're unpacking the AI Care Agents 24/7 framework for California nonprofit AI governance. We aren't going to get bogged down in vague, high-level theories today. Instead, we're looking at a workforce-ready, highly practical operating framework. It's really about turning all that regulatory chaos into manageable, structured compliance, step by step.
So, here's our quick roadmap for today. We'll start by mapping out California's AI regulatory maze. Introduce the AI Care Agents 24/7 framework. Walk through their specific 7-step process in detail, and then wrap up with a phased implementation timeline. It's a dense topic, for sure, but we've got a really clear path to follow.
First up, Section 1. We absolutely have to start by acknowledging the stark reality of California's AI regulatory maze and just how fragmented the law actually is right now.
You know, the biggest misconception out there right now is that there's just one giant sweeping AI law you have to follow. The reality? California actually regulates AI through 5 distinct, independently enforced legal layers. Just picking one to comply with? Yeah, that's not an option anymore. These 5 separate layers break down into super specific rules. We're talking training data transparency, AI content disclosure, frontier model safety, consumer automated decision-making under the CCPA, and finally, employment-specific regulations. And here's the kicker, each of these has its own effective dates. Some have actually already passed, while others are coming up fast in 2026. The absolutely crucial takeaway here is that misclassifying your tools against these 5 layers carries direct, massive financial exposure for your nonprofit.
Let me just highlight the layer most nonprofits are going to collide with first. It's called Employment Automated Decision Systems, or ADS. Did you know the basic spam filter in your applicant tracking system might actually be regulated as an AI decision tool? Crazy, right? ADS covers literally any computational process used for things like hiring, promotion, or performance evaluation. It doesn't even need to be some super sophisticated machine learning model. Simple scored selection criteria in your everyday CRM or HR software completely count. The hidden risks here are huge. So, what do we do? How do we handle this chaos? Well, Section 2 introduces our structured solution, the AI CARE Agents 24/7 framework. The overarching philosophy of AI Care Agents 24/7 is what they call an artifact-first approach. And what does that mean in plain English? It means this framework isn't just about writing a nice-sounding policy and tossing it in a digital drawer. Not at all. It's designed from the ground up to produce concrete, auditable documentation at every single step. If a regulator comes knocking or a major funder audits your AI governance, you have the physical, structured evidence right there to prove your compliance. Moving into Section 3, let's start breaking down exactly how they do this, beginning with the foundational phase, discovery and strategy. Here is how this foundation is built out in the first 3 steps. Step 1 is your AI system inventory. Step 2 is legal exposure mapping. And Step 3 is establishing governance structure and accountable roles. Digging right into Step 1, you've got to build a complete, living inventory of every single AI-powered tool in your organization. And listen, you have to look way beyond the obvious generative AI stuff like ChatGPT. You need to scrutinize your CRM, your email marketing platforms, your program management software. Once you have that list, you classify those systems into a 3-tier risk structure. Tier 1 is low risk, all the way up to Tier 3, which requires case-by-case legal sign-off. Then in Step 2, you test each system against those 5 laws we talked about earlier to produce an applicability memo for your Tier 2 and Tier 3 systems. This memo acts as your proof, stating exactly which laws apply and who is internally responsible. Then we have Step 3, which is all about governance. You have to designate a formal AI governance lead, and they need to report directly to the executive director and the board. But crucially, and I love this about the AI Core Agents 24/7 approach, they clarify the board's actual role. The board shouldn't be in the weeds approving individual AI tools. That is management's job. Instead, the board needs to ask the right questions to ensure AI risk is folded into broader enterprise risk management. To make this easy, the framework implements a specific 5-question annual board briefing to handle exactly this level of oversight.
Section 4. Once your inventory is locked in and your leaders are in place,
we shift to building the actionable policies and safeguards.
The middle of the framework connects your high-level policy directly to ground-level risk management and actual human review. That's Step 4, policy architecture, Step 5, risk assessment, and Step 6, human oversight workflows.
So in Step 4, you're creating a scalable written AI use policy. A small nonprofit might just need a concise 3-page document, right? But a larger one might need robust funder-specific provisions. This step also gives you ready-to-adapt pre-use notices and opt-out mechanisms that map directly to the CCPA regulatory text. Then, Step 5 dictates that for any system touching a significant decision or extensive profiling, a formal standing risk assessment is absolutely required. And you have to reassess it at least every 3 years or within 45 days if you make a material change to the tool. Oh, and if it's an employment-facing system, you're looking at mandatory bias and impact ratio testing for sure. This really brings us to the core operational requirement across practically all layers of California law. Step 6 demands meaningful human review before an AI-influenced decision materially affects a person. But think about that for a second. What does meaningful actually mean in a legal sense? Well, the AI Care Agents 24/7 framework defines it crystal clearly. It means the human reviewer isn't just mindlessly rubber stamping an AI output because they're under time pressure. They have to truly understand the tool's limitations, and this is the big one, they must hold the actual authority to reverse the AI's outcome if needed.
Moving on to Section 5. Look, written policies are completely useless if your team doesn't actually know how to execute them. That brings us to Step 7, workforce readiness.
The crucial point here is that AI Care Agents 24/7 treats training as a tiered certification pathway, not just some boring one-off seminar you sleep through. There's foundational literacy for all staff, an intermediate module specifically for managers who are conducting that meaningful human review we just talked about, and an advanced certification for your designated governance lead. They also focus heavily on live tabletop walkthroughs for incident response. Like, what exactly do you do if a biased hiring tool output is suddenly discovered? Practicing that reinforces a vital, non-punitive reporting culture so problems get surfaced internally way before they become messy regulatory violations.
Finally, Section 6. You might be sitting there wondering, okay, how long does this all actually take? Let's look at the implementation timeline. AI Care Agents 24/7 sequences this step-by-step work over a very manageable 12-month period. You build your foundation in months 1 through 3, handle the policy and disclosure pieces in months 2 through 4, perform deep assessments in months 3 to 6, measure bias and impact through month 9, and finalize management and certification by month 12. However, and this is a massive caveat, if your organization is already using AI in hiring or beneficiary eligibility contexts, you need to compress this schedule immediately. Some of those employment ADS rules have actually been enforced since late 2025.
Throughout this timeline, you can really see that artifact-first approach shining through, from producing the full system inventory in the foundation phase to generating the pre-use notices in the policy phase, all the way to documenting the deployed human oversight controls in the final phase. You are constantly generating physical, irrefutable proof of compliance at every single stage of the process.
Which brings us to our final takeaway for this explainer. When you look at this entire landscape, I want you to remember this. AI governance is a fiduciary duty. It is no longer just an IT issue you can pass off to the tech team. It is a board-level mandate, regardless of their technical expertise. With this fragmented 5-layer California landscape moving at lightning speed, you have to ask yourself, is your board truly prepared to meet these new legal standards, or are you flying blind? Implementing a blueprint like AI Care Agents 24/7 isn't just about checking a compliance box anymore. It's about the survival and integrity of your mission. Thanks so much for joining me today. Honestly, it's time to go check your inventory.